Hello, minions. Welcome back. We continue to careen forward to the final battle of Book 1, The Evils of Heronshire. But before we do, a little hodgepodge of investigation and roleplay, as well as the introduction of a new character by one of the regular players. Let's not stand on ceremony. There's much to cover. Roll the opener, imp. As always, the action is recreated using the Order of the Stick, Monster for Every Season cutout minis. The players. Les as a Neshk, Lawful Good Human Paladin, level 6. Dave as Lee, Lawful Good Human Monk, level 6. Grant as Kindreth, Neutral Good Half-Elven Fighter Cleric, level 4-4. Ron as Callus, Chaotic Good Human Ranger, level 4. Claude as Tuck, Lawful Good Human Kensai, level 1. Boris, Lawful Good Human Ranger, Henchman to Aneshk, level 5. Tyranno, Lawful Good Human Magic User, Henchman to Aneshk, level 3. It has been many days since the group scouted the Broken Spire Keep, and Aneshk has finally arrived at Quipper's farm after updating Lord Palfrey about their goings-on. Between sessions, the dwarven thief Dub had decided to join the others in Arabelle, and Claude has introduced his latest character, Tuck. Having heard of this group's actions through fellow Kensai McTavish, he offers his services. And to prove his value, challenges Aneshk to a non-lethal duel to disarm. Using a Ranseur, Tuck is able to disarm the highly skilled Aneshk and earn his place. At Quipper's farm, the team discusses their next move. Quipper is ranging and they do not know when he'll return. It is the month of Elisis, so the weather is still hot. They decide to finish off the remaining 2 giants of the Shrieken Mire, then pack up and travel in that direction. After but an hour of travel, Callus decides that his metal armor is too hot as the heat exhaustion checks wear him down. So they travel back to Quipper's farm, where he procures a suit of leather from Maxim, who is on hand and watching the property. It is decided to not wear armor while they travel in order to keep cool. They spot a common snake by the riverside killing some prey. Lee recognizes it as the same snake he conversed with previously. Random encounter? A sign? The D&D gods trying to say something? Or DM laziness? You decide, minions. They camp overnight prior to arriving at the Redwood, then proceed through the woods the next day. Slow going means camping in the woods and arriving at Thurmaster at noon the following day. The Thurmaster gates are closed when they arrive, and that's unusual for this town, but upon recognizing Aneshk, Lee, Tyranno, and Boris, the gate guard lets them in without hesitation, and one of the guards gushes over Aneshk, asking for help quelling the people's tempers. Nervous guards also seek reassurance about the disappearance of the gods. People have started to blame arcane casters, and hostility towards Thurmaster has increased, though official orders from Lord Palfrey are to protect the wizard from the common rabble. Aneshk promises to do his best. They immediately visit Thurmaster, who now has 2 massive mastiffs guarding the exterior of his tower, chained to thick posts. They snarl and growl as the group approaches, but Lee calms them down instantly with his monkish ability to speak with animals. After banging on the door, Thurmaster recognizes them and opens up to let them in, though he is shocked at how docile the dogs are for the group. They recover the longsword he was studying for them. Thurmaster's work indicates that it's just got a minor magical enchantment and nothing more. Still of use, as Callus swaps out a magical broadsword he's currently using for the longsword, which he's proficient in. In conversation with Thurmaster, they mention their attempt at the Gleaming Glade and inform him that a wraith haunts the glade, and they engaged with it, but it fled before destruction. They were unfortunately unable to lure it back out into combat. It is also discussed that the superstitious people are getting hostile towards arcane casters, which is why Thurmaster acquired Biff and Barf. In the area, things have been quiet otherwise. There have been no more signs of the giants since the group killed the 2. Farmers have spotted a dragon flying in the distance, deep in the mire, but it has yet to come into the human lands. They show him the letter they found in the Gleaming Glade, and Thurmaster mentions that the names are from 2 generations past. This is an old sheet, but it does mention that the Spire Keep was once the seat of the Palfrey family before they abandoned it. When asked why, he says that some say it was because of how remote it was. The truth is, however, that some of the Palfrey ancestors dabbled in black magic. Where Lord Palfrey's grandfather was a respected paladin of Helm, One of his great-uncles or aunts was a sorcerer, committed to dark worship. The current lord is neither pure like a paladin, nor is he a rotting evil like those who resided in the Spire Keep. The team then heads over to consult with Squire Marlin, Lord Palfrey's agent in Thurmaster. They ask him to assemble the people in the town centre that Anesh might address the crowd and calm fears. Squire Marlin is enthusiastic about this and immediately starts making plans to charge people for the privilege of seeing the great hero speak. He discusses erecting a stage for him, but Anesh protests that a simple riser will do, and he doesn't want to charge people. Marlin agrees to send word to assemble the people for dinner time in the centre of town. Rather than build a new riser, the team simply sets their own wagon for Anesh to stand on. In the intervening time, they acquire more supplies and rations for their coming return to the Shrieken Mire. In the evening, Anesh gives a speech to the assembled townsfolk. A high reaction roll boosted by his immense charisma wins the crowd easily. Squire Marlin lets slip that each townsmember paid a copper piece to come, and he has told the people that they will each be blessed by the paladin. Anesh is extremely annoyed by the charging of the townsfolk, but Squire Marlin insists that it was necessary to pay the wages of the guards. Yes, to have extra guards on duty for the security, of course. The team clearly doesn't believe him, but they let it slide, and Anesh offers hope and prayer to people who come up to him. He politely turns down offers of gifts, trinkets, bread, flowers, and so on. One woman brings forth her daughter who is suffering from some malady, causing the skin on her face to crust over. Anesh lays hands on her, hoping to cure the disease, but given that he has been severed from the divinity of Lathander, he is unsure as to whether or not that ability remains. Further, even so, cure disease doesn't wipe out diseases instantly, rather it reverses the progress over time, so they will not know for sure if it worked for several days. He tells the hopeful mother that he has done what he can, but time will tell if the power worked. After tending to the crowd, the team retires, though quickly being reminded of the poor condition of the Hound and Tails with the bedbugs and lice. They opt to set up a camp elsewhere instead of resting at the inn. The following morning they head out to the Shrieken Mire, scouting along the edge, tracking and keeping an eye out for the remaining two giants. Arriving at the burned-out farm that they previously used, they make camp again. Anesh visits the site where they buried his celestial steed and digs down to recover a single tooth to keep with him. Callus, Lee, and Boris take a horse and the dog, then scout forth while the others maintain the camp. The two rangers and monk find no further recent evidence of passage of the giants. They do find the corpse of a lizard man at the edge of the mire, however. The animals are nervous. Something is spooking them. They are cautious and examine the body from a distance, noticing that it's covered in some kind of ooze or mucus. Using a stick, they scrape a sample off. It smells sweet, like maple syrup. Nothing else seems to be in the area, and no other tracks near the body indicate what might have killed it. They withdraw back to the camp to report. The next day, the whole group travels forth, with a plan to move as far along the edge of the mire as possible. They arrive at the dead lizard man, intent on getting a sample of the strange mucus for Towster to identify. A pile of leaves and vegetation rests near the body, which specifically wasn't there the day before. Immediately suspicious, they light a torch and toss it at the clump. The vegetation erupts as vines swirl like tentacles and start pulling towards the group, albeit very slowly. They back away and pelt it with missile fire as it creeps ever closer, and manage to safely kill it from range. They all examine the strange plant creature, but no one has any idea what it is. It smells of the same mapley odor they detected from the sticky substance on the lizard man body. Noting how well it blends into the environment, and that they only spotted it this time because it wasn't there before, the team leaves, but keeps a very close eye on any vegetation they come across. Seeing various farms in the region, they move closer to talk to the farmers. They speak with one, who talks about the creatures of the mire, but how mostly they stay put. They haven't seen the giants at all, but the farmer's knowledge of things outside seems a little suspect. He mentions another nearby farmstead that had their daughter go missing, but he knows little else as they aren't on friendly terms. That farm worships the Titans, not the Old Faith, which is proper. The group heads to the second farm, and a super high reaction roll sees the farmer extremely friendly and welcoming. They ask the usual questions about his troubles of late, and get similar answers about the giants not coming this way. The group suspects the giants had a tighter ranging area, closer to the mire. When asked about the missing daughter, whose name is Helena, the farmer suspects that she went to Thurmaster seeking adventure. She was a restless girl with God's given gifts, dreams that come true, and an uncanny ability to read people. He's a little worried that she didn't take any of her usual traveling gear, but it's easily acquired in Thurmaster. When it's mentioned that the group cleansed the Temple of Gaia, the farmer is very happy, as Gaia is one of the titans he offers worship to. The farmers then offer food and drink to the team. As well, he lets them stay on his land overnight. The team stays here, then returns to Thurmaster to plan the next move. Do they go into the very dangerous Mire, or simply continue to scout the edges, hoping to find evidence of the remaining giants? While in Thurmaster, Callus and Lee ask about Helena. She is well known and liked in town, but no one has seen her in over a month. They decide to take a ferry to the Blessed Wood on the other side of the Churnet. From there, they will continue their searches along the outskirts of the Shrieken Mire from that edge. They find that they can take the mule, but the horse and wagon are too much for the skiff, so they leave them in town. On the other side, they come across a forester's camp, based on a random roll, and engage in discussion with the foresters. They have only ever seen the giants at a distance, and haven't been directly bothered by them. The team starts to travel south, and another encounter roll yields the ranger encounter again. Rangers really like this group. Shiraz arrives on the scene, the DM justifying the role by saying that she has been searching for the group. The Bloodskull orcs were spotted at the Garston mine in West Heronshire, and Quipper has been staking out watching. They suspect that an entrance to the underground tunnels is accessible from the mine. Quipper and Shiraz have been previously checking the area when they could, but found no evidence of use. But that has apparently changed. Because of her ability to fly and cover more ground, she came looking for the group. The team asks if she will come with them, but she mentions that now that she's located them, she's bound for Featherstone, an area of the South Thornwood where tribes of Aarakocra reside. She's been aiding them with some troubles. The team immediately heads back north and makes their way to Thurmaster to reclaim their wagon and horse. Over the next 3 days, they travel as quickly as possible across the breadth of Heronshire to meet Quipper at the Garston mines. He greets them and informs them that the Bloodskulls have been coming and going from the mine, but are assisted by a group of men as well. The team tells Quipper that they will immediately investigate this new lead and see what they can find. And with that, the session concludes as they prepare for the expedition into the Garston mines. Well, minions, a little bit of a slow burn right before the explosion to the finale. The Garston mines have been waiting for the group to discover them, and now the stage is set. Of course, it wasn't a direct path, and nor should it be. The module itself has a guideline as to what level the group should be before tackling the Garston mines. This team is, of course, well above that number, and the DM has been waiting for an organic excuse for the team to learn of Garston's existence. I suppose it would have been easy enough to just have someone show up and tell them to go to Garston sooner, but there's a balance to be struck between leading the players by the nose and letting their actions dictate the events. Rather than arbitrarily having a messenger show up, the dice actually indicated just the person who would convey the information. What's the difference, you ask? Well, by letting the players choose their own path, and the dice prompting the information, the game maintains a more honest, for lack of a better word, approach. A more organic feel, where the players maintain control and the DM isn't playing puppet master, rather an adjudicator. What's also interesting is that the ranger encounters don't appear on all the charts. So had the group gone to the Shrieken Mire, well, then the ranger wouldn't have shown up and they'd still be mucking about. It may not seem like much, but I feel it makes a difference for how satisfying the game is in the long run. The line of thought here was that once the players returned to Milbourne on the western side of Heronshire, the news about activity in Garston mine would be revealed rather readily. But the players have kept to the eastern portion of Heronshire, following their own path. With the encounter dice turning up a ranger, it seemed the perfect opportunity to give them the information more organically. The Garston mines are meant to be a major event in the Heronshire plot, which is all I'll say for now, obviously, as they have yet to tackle it. But this is a direct line to the final confrontation with the Bloodskull tribe and their mysterious masters at the conclusion of Module 1. The setup is decent, with my only real bugbear being the usual advice from the module as to either railroading or denying the players based on the DM's assessment of their ability to tackle the situation. Whereas I prefer to let the chips drop where they may and see what happens. Forcing a group down a predetermined narrative necessitates the fool's errand of trying to balance encounters to the PC abilities, especially if there's no way out but forward. Garston mines do allow for scouting and assessment, giving the players opportunity to withdraw and seek aid rather than feeling like it's a do-or-die situation. The previous location for a major set piece in Night Below, the Broken Spire Keep, falls more into the idea of the do-or-die, as the location is so remote that escape from a bad situation could be difficult. Here we are in the home stretch, minions. The next 3 episodes encompass the hero's efforts to breach the mines and defeat the threat against Heronshire. But what awaits them beyond that? The Underdark minions, oh yes. I mean, it's not exactly a spoiler. So stay tuned, minions. The final battle looms as the Night Below campaign continues. Ta for now.